Hey everyone, we are at CES 2017 looking at the GTX 1050 laptops. I have two of them here from Dell. They are the Dell XPS 15. We're at the NVIDIA suite. I don't actually have a meeting with Dell, but we're going to be talking about these, the specs, and a very brief sort of tertiary benchmark of the Overwatch settings on Ultra. So we'll be talking about that. Before getting to that, this content is brought to you by CyberPower and their Cyber XL gaming PC, which comes equipped with an invertible motherboard tray that they set up for you. Link in the description below for more information on that. So there are three main benchmarks that I do on these types of laptops, and Overwatch is generally the third one in the bench. We like to run GTA 5 and things like that as well, but the 1050, as it is presented here, really only has this one title set up on it for us to work with at the suite. So we've got Overwatch. It is the least intensive game that I generally work with laptops, but I can give you a baseline and we can throw a chart on the screen of my benchmarks from Overwatch with the actual desktop 1050 and see how the numbers compare. Going over the basics first, the specs. The Dell XPS 15 here in front of me has the i7 7700HQ version of Intel's Kaby Lake processors, and that is a higher end SKU, but it's an HQ model, not an HK model, so it's not unlocked for overclocking. The 1050, however, you can overclock through normal means. You can use your own tools, Afterburner, Precision, things like that, and the vendors, so that'd be MSI, Dell, any of the others, CyberPower, they have their own ability to overclock and then sell it with an advertised higher clock rate. So they've got some room to play in there to differentiate themselves depending on their thermal solution. And thermal solution for these, because their laptops really dictates everything, you'll see different performance from one to the next, even with the same GPU, just because of the thermal solution. And this is a pretty light and thin laptop, so of course that's going to limit your ability to breathe. All the ventilation is on the bottom. Not going to want to put this on a blanket or something, but you've got your ventilation on the bottom. I'm not sure how many fans are in here. We haven't opened it or anything like that. I don't have the right tools to do that. It's got star head screws. But in terms of the basics, 15-inch screen, same i7 I said. The GTX 1050 desktop version is basically in the notebooks. There are some differences. So clock rate, for example, and CUDA core count can be changed between desktop and notebook depending on how NVIDIA wants to tune for performance versus temperature in a small form factor. And in this case, I believe it's 640 CUDA cores, and then the clock rate of this one is somewhere around 1354 megahertz. Base, and we'll have base and boost on the website if you haven't seen that coverage already. For the very basic benchmark, this is not scientific. I don't have my normal tools with me. Maybe look at it more later, but the basics, using Overwatch's built-in frame rate analysis tools and using ultra settings with 100% render resolution at, I think we're at 1080p on this display. Yeah, 1080p ultra settings. We're getting somewhere around 57 to 80 FPS in the training benchmark course we normally run. That's a big range. So when you average it, the numbers should look pretty close to about 59 to 60-ish. And we'll have to benchmark that again with real tools, but I'm pretty confident in that being the landing place. So not bad for 1080 with ultra settings on a GTX 1050 in a notebook with an i7, of course, helping it out a bit. Overwatch is not the most intensive game in the world, but that gives you a baseline for comparison against the desktop parts if you're curious about that. Of course, you have to control for the CPU and things, but talk about that more later. So that's what I have for you on the Dell XPS 15. We'll look up price, things like that, and throw it in the article, which you can find linked in the description below. That will be our GTX 1050 news announcement written by Patrick Lathan. So check that out. Thank you for watching. As always, Patreon link to post all videos. Subscribe for more content. I'll see you all next time.